Imagine a normal day at home. A small, boring problem pops up. The internet router blinks a warning red light. A new desk arrives in pieces with a confusing instruction book. Or an annoying email asks you to log into a weird website to fix an error. There are people who know how to fix everything. They dive into these tasks without a second thought. For a lot of people, this is just a tiny bump in the road. It is a small annoyance they just push through. But maybe this is not true for you. Or maybe it is not true for someone you care about deeply. Instead, there is a sudden cold feeling in your chest. A quiet feeling of being stuck takes over. You do not open the instruction book. You do not look for a helpful video online. You do not press the reset button. Instead, you physically take a step back. You wait. You pick up your phone. You send a text message to the person in your life who always handles these things. This reaction is very easy to misunderstand. And most of the time, that's what happens. Because it looks like a stubborn refusal to even try. It looks like you feel entitled to their help. It might even look like you are just being lazy. Frustrated partners and coworkers often jump to harsh conclusions. They assume you are picking the easy way out. They think you are perfectly happy letting someone else carry the boring weight of daily life. But this behavior is rarely what it looks like on the surface. When you look closely at why this happens, you find something very fragile. You do not find a lazy attitude. What looks like a demanding, passive need for others is actually a deep crisis of confidence. It is a quiet, terrifying internal state. The paradox of the person who lets others fix everything is interesting. They are not usually trying to trick or use the people around them. Instead, they are living under a heavy, invisible belief. They truly believe they cannot change the outcome. To them, the physical and digital world is a confusing, unfriendly machine. They are completely convinced that their own hands cannot operate the controls. What looks like distance or a lack of caring is actually fear. It is the fear of making the problem even worse. It is the fear of failing where others can see. It is the deep, haunting worry that they are simply less capable than everyone else in the room. They feel broken in a way others are not. This specific type of feeling stuck brings us to a big idea in psychology, one that we've explored numerous times on this channel: the locus of control. This idea describes how we secretly understand the forces that run our lives. It looks at whether people believe their own actions cause things to happen, or it looks at whether they think outside forces control everything. Now, there are two types. Let us say you walk through life with the first one, an internal locus of control. If so, you naturally believe in your own power. You believe your hard work directly changes what happens to you. But what if you have the second type, an external locus of control? In that case, you expect outside things to decide the outcome. You might blame bad luck, you might blame fate, or you might blame the actions of more powerful people. When a sudden problem blocks your path, having an external locus makes you stop trying. You naturally take far less action. You do not stop trying because you are mean or lazy. You stop because trying feels completely useless. You become much more passive. In your own mind, you are just a passenger. You feel like someone else is driving the car. Why would you try to fix a broken door? Why would you fight with a confusing form? You simply would not try. This is especially true if your whole body believes your actions will change absolutely nothing. Which type do you think you possess? Internal locus of control or external locus of control? Type it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Now, the feeling of uselessness and external locus of control might bring connects to another important psychological idea. That idea is called self-efficacy. This simply means believing in your own ability to do the things needed to reach a goal. According to the main theory about self-efficacy, this belief matters a great deal. It directly changes whether people even try to face challenges at all. People with low self-efficacy naturally run away from hard tasks. They tend to think mostly about everything that could go wrong. They do not think about how to actually solve the problem. When you stare at a broken car or an empty job application, you do not see a puzzle to solve. Instead, you see a mirror, and that mirror shows you your own feelings of failure. Now think about people with high self-efficacy. They react very differently. They feel encouraged to keep going. They see those exact same problems as fun challenges to beat. But how does a person take in this heavy sense of powerlessness in the first place? Often, it is the result of long, difficult experiences from the past. Brain research has looked closely at something called learned helplessness. This research shows what happens when people face stressful events they cannot control over and over again. They might eventually learn that their actions just do not matter. Facing stress you cannot control for a long time leads directly to this learned helplessness. It shows up as a total inability to escape or avoid bad situations. This is true even when you could easily escape. Most importantly, this biological and mental process changes your inner drive. It includes a learned drop in your desire to put in any effort at all. Maybe you learned the hard way that speaking up does not change anything. Maybe your clumsy tries to fix things only made people mad at you. If so, your nervous system learns to adapt. It adapts by turning off the urge to try. The passive behavior you show today is not a deep flaw in who you are. It is actually a very smart biological survival trick. It is just outdated. It was built for a past world that never responded to your hard work. On the other hand, feeling like you have control actively builds good coping skills. It builds mental toughness. But if you never felt that control, the muscle that makes you take action never had a chance to grow. This is where the internal battle turns into a tricky dance with other people. When you always step back and ask for help, the people around you usually step in. They fill the empty space. But the exact way they offer help often makes your hidden wound even worse. Social psychologists point out a clear difference between two types of support. There is help that makes you dependent, and there is help that builds your independence. Dependency-oriented help happens when someone completely solves your problem for you. They take the broken router away from you. They make the scary phone call for you. They fix the leaky sink while you just stand there. This fixes the problem right then, but it has a very high psychological price. It can ruin your sense of independence. It also keeps a quiet ranking alive, with the helper on top and you on the bottom. The helper gets to feel useful. You get to feel temporary relief. But under that relief, your deep belief that you are useless gets confirmed again. It is very interesting to see who asks for which kind of help. Studies show clear patterns. Some people see themselves as deeply tied to others. They also focus on preventing bad things from happening. This means they just want to avoid mistakes and stay safe. These people usually look for the kind of help that makes them dependent. They ask others to just fix things for them. They do not want to learn. They just want things to be calm again. Now look at people who see themselves as independent. They focus on promoting good things. They are driven by growth and doing well. These people prefer help that builds their independence. This type of help gives them the tools they need to solve the problem on their own. They actually want to learn the skill. When your loved ones always rescue you by completely taking over, they give you quick relief. But they are accidentally starving you. They are starving you of the important feeling of being capable. They are proving your worst fear. They are showing that you really did need them to do it for you. We all have a deep natural hunger to feel capable. Self-determination theory looks at this very closely. It says that human motivation is highest when three basic needs are met. These needs are independence, capability, and connection to others. We need to feel like we have choices. We need to feel like we can master the world around us. And we need to feel like we belong with other people. The sad part about letting others fix everything is very clear. Situations that block these basic needs actively hurt your drive and your happiness. Environments that focus too much on controlling you from the outside can do real damage. A home with a highly critical parent is one example. A bossy partner is another. These places can deeply lower your natural drive to do things. They push you into long-term dependence on others. You hand over the tools because the emotional weather never felt safe. It never felt safe enough for you to try, mess up, and try again on your own terms. Sometimes people secretly let others fix things for a different reason. They think needing help is the only way to keep that connection to others. They think acting helpless makes sure someone will stay close to them. Also, sometimes you just have too much on your mind. You might just hand off tasks so you can survive a very stressful week, but it is also true that at the extreme end of this behavior, things do change. These habits can turn into a real, deep problem. Doctors describe this in dependent personality disorder. They point out an extreme need to be taken care of. They see people having major trouble making simple daily choices. These people struggle to even start tasks. They have a huge need for others to run the big parts of their lives. It is very important to know that most people who avoid fixing things do not have a medical disorder. Still, these medical traits make a strong point. They show what extreme dependence looks like when you have zero belief in yourself. For most people, though, this behavior is different. It is a quiet, specific habit rather than a total life illness. Seeing this hidden pattern can bring a huge sense of relief. Maybe you are the person who always steps back from trouble. If so, your goal is not to magically fix everything by tomorrow. Your actual goal is much smaller, but it is also much braver. Your goal is simply to learn how to stay in the room. Think about the next time a daily task suddenly goes wrong. You will feel that cold urge to run away. When you feel it, try to gently say no to it. You do not even have to fix the problem right then. Just look at the confusing instruction book. Just sit quietly with the broken pieces. You are not fighting a lack of smarts or skill. You are fighting an old, scary memory. That memory tricked you into thinking your hands were completely useless. Your hands are not useless at all. They have just been waiting for a very long time. They have been waiting for a place that feels safe enough to try.